For over half a century, the quiet streets of Burlington, Vermont held a dark secret. The brutal murder of a young schoolteacher, Rita Curran, on a summer night in 1971 cast a long, cold shadow over the community. Her case was one of those indelible mysteries, a chilling reminder of unanswered questions that haunted a family and a city for decades. But in 2023, after 52 long years, a remarkable breakthrough, powered by cutting-edge DNA technology and relentless determination, finally brought justice to Rita. Rita Curran was just 24 years old, a bright and aspiring elementary school teacher. She was known for her kindness, her love of children, and her vivacious spirit. She lived in a shared apartment on Brooks Avenue in Burlington, looking forward to her future. Like many young people of her generation, she was navigating life, enjoying friendships, and building her independence. The night of July 19th, 1971, began like any other. Rita had spent the evening with friends, including her roommate, at a local club, the Shanty. She returned home late, sometime after 3 a.m. on July 20th, her roommate already asleep.
What happened next would plunge her family and the entire community into a nightmare. Sometime in the early morning hours, an intruder entered her apartment. The details are harrowing, but the outcome was tragic. Rita Curran was brutally assaulted, beaten, and strangled to death. It was Rita's roommate who discovered her body the following morning. The scene was horrifying. Burlington police quickly responded, and a full-scale murder investigation began. But from the outset, the case presented immense challenges.
Detectives worked tirelessly, interviewing countless individuals, collecting evidence, and following every possible lead. They spoke to neighbors, friends, and anyone who might have seen something unusual that night. The technology of the 1970s, however, was limited compared to today's forensic capabilities. Among the few pieces of evidence recovered from Rita's bedroom were a partially smoked cigarette butt and a section of her clothing. These items were carefully collected and preserved, even though their full potential wasn't yet understood. Despite the efforts, the leads eventually dried up. No arrests were made, and the initial intense investigation eventually slowed to a crawl. The murder of Rita Curran became a cold case, a file tucked away in police archives, but never truly forgotten by those who loved her. For the next 5 decades, Rita's family lived with an open wound. Her parents, brothers, and sisters endured the unimaginable pain of losing a loved one to violence, compounded by the agony of not knowing who was responsible. Every anniversary, every family gathering, was tinged with the sadness of Rita's absence and the enduring mystery of her death.
As the years turned into decades, the field of forensic science underwent a quiet revolution. DNA profiling, once a futuristic concept, became a powerful tool. And then came forensic genetic genealogy, a groundbreaking technique that combined traditional DNA analysis with genealogical research, allowing investigators to identify suspects through their distant relatives. In 2020, with this new technology at their disposal, the Burlington Police Department, in collaboration with the Vermont State Police and the FBI, decided to revisit Rita Curran's case. Their attention immediately turned to that crucial cigarette butt and the clothing evidence, carefully preserved for over 50 years. Forensic experts were able to extract a viable DNA sample from the cigarette. This was a critical moment. Instead of relying solely on traditional law enforcement databases, which had yielded no matches, they turned to public genealogical databases, the same ones used by millions of people to discover their family history. The process was painstaking. By comparing the unknown DNA profile to the genetic information in these public databases, investigators began to build a family tree for the unknown suspect. They searched for individuals who shared significant amounts of DNA with the profile from the cigarette, indicating a close familial relationship. The genealogical research led them to a startling realization. The DNA pointed directly to a man named William DeRose. And the chilling detail? William DeRose had lived in the very same apartment building as Rita Curran in 1971, on the floor directly above her. Investigators discovered that DeRose had been a transient figure for much of his life. He had been married to a woman named Michelle, who had previously mentioned to others that her ex-husband, William, had confessed to her about murdering someone in Burlington around that time. However, she had never directly reported this to the police until she was approached by investigators during the renewed inquiry. Crucially, DeRuse himself could not be questioned. He had tragically died by suicide in Richmond, Virginia, in 1986, just 15 years after Rita's murder. But even in death, the truth eventually found its way to him. Investigators obtained a DNA sample from one of DeRuse's relatives and submitted it for comparison. The result was irrefutable. The DNA from the cigarette found at Rita's crime scene was a direct match to William DeRuse. On February 21, 2023, after more than 5 decades, the Burlington Police Department and the Vermont State Police finally announced the resolution of Rita Curran's murder case. They publicly identified William DeRuse as the perpetrator. For Rita's surviving brothers and sisters, the news brought an overwhelming mix of emotions. Profound sadness for the sister they lost, but also immense relief and a sense of long-awaited peace. They finally had an answer to the question that had plagued them for generations. The case of Rita Curran stands as a powerful testament to the tireless dedication of law enforcement and the transformative impact of modern forensic science. It reminds us that even after more than half a century, when hope might seem to dwindle, the pursuit of justice can prevail. For Rita and for her family, the long cold case finally found its closure, proving that some secrets, no matter how deeply buried, can still be uncovered.